Well guys, it's here, Dick Love up in Bristol, the BMW GSA1300 for 2024. I'm excited to go and test this out. This is the Trophy Edition. Inside they do have the green Karakorum, honestly I couldn't tell you what it's called. You might be able to just about see it through that door there. They've also got the standard red one as well, so I'll chuck in some footage when I get back of those bikes on this video as well, just so you can kind of see and compare the difference in colours, because for me the configurator on their website doesn't do it justice. This is the first time I've seen this in person and it's not as bad as I thought, but let's discuss this on the road. Last week I come up here and I took out the GS1300, again the standard manual version, just kind of get my feels for it again after the hype had settled and everyone had stopped talking about it. And then also I took out the GS1300 ASA, so the automated shift assist version, i.e. the kind of auto gearbox versus the manual gearbox. This demo is the manual gearbox, it's not the ASA. I'm not sure if they've got an ASA one on the showroom, but they're only going to have one demo of the GSA, but they've got 3 demos of the GS1300. If you haven't seen those videos, top right corner there'll be the link there, or there'll be links in the description as well. See, we now sat on the motorway for a couple of miles. Let's talk about wind protection to start them. For reference, I'm 6'1", 115 kilos, and this GS Trophy has the standard screen setup as the normal GS1300. BMW also provide an oversized screen, which is a kind of a different layout, doesn't have these black deflectors. And what I'll do is I'll overlay some footage of the one, because they've got one in the showroom itself. That one does look big, it looks like it would stop all the wind, but we're talking about this one right here. This has got the electronic windshield, so I've got it in that highest position. And the wind's hitting kind of right at the tip of my helmet and the very edges of my shoulders. So all these little deflectors are doing a good job. There's nothing worse than being absolutely battered by the wind, especially if you're doing a long distance ride and touring. Now this specific demo bike does have the lowered seat on it, which isn't particularly helpful, because like I said, I'm 6'1", I don't need the lower seat. But with it on, I do feel very low in the bike. I wonder if that would have that same feeling with the standard seat. Because also if it's standard seat, it will push me up a little bit higher. And then the wind deflectors start doing a different job. For reference, I have got a 2019 GSA1250. I've owned that for 18 months or so, and I'm very much enjoying it. Right now, I'm not in the market looking at buying something else, but it'll be interesting to see if this bike changes my mind. This specific demo has got every bell and whistle thrown at it. It's got everything from the auto ride height, electric windscreen, the radar front and rear, blind spot detectors. It's got everything. And do you need all that? No, let's face it, you don't. But I don't know about you, but when I find myself on one of the car or bike configurators online, I convince myself that I need that. Oh yeah, I definitely could use that. And you've taken, let's say for this, a bike at its base price at 18.5 grand, 18.8, and you've next minute you finished up at 25 grand, and you're like, how did I do that? I feel like they market it well in making you think you need all these little extras and all the little goodies. Ergonomically, for someone of my size, this bike fits me perfectly. Like, the way the tank shapes out, like your knees just fit in. The foot peg knee to hip ratio is a nice, comfortable kind of triangle. There's no pressure points, there's no extreme bends on them. Like this and the 1250 are just really comfortable bikes to ride. I think that's what scares some people when they're coming from sports bikes. They're like, no, you must be uncomfortable about riding. They don't want to admit to themselves that their knees hurt, their head, neck hurts, their back hurts. Just admit it, get something like this. You can go just as fast. on the UK roads, have more fun, and actually carry some luggage. Now I'm finally off the Wales Bridge, we can actually talk about the bike. So let's start in the heart of this thing. It is the engine. Of course, the big, massive boxer engine sticking out either side. The 1300 brake horsepower is up against the 1250. So the 1300, we got 145 brake horsepower versus the 136 brake horsepower for the old 1250. And then looking at the torque as well, again, we're up 149 newton meters of torque versus 143 on the 1250. So we are up on power. But what is nice to see is we're not up too much on the weight. I think this comes in at 269 kilos and the 1250 was 268. So there's only 1 kilo in difference for, let's face it, quite a lot more. I wonder what the weight of this specific bike is. Like I said, this has got everything thrown on it. I wonder what the weight increases to when it's got all the radar tech and the electronic motors for the windscreen and all those other bits and bobs. Don't forget, I'm just your average Joe. So this is just kind of my own personal thoughts and opinions on the bike and how it handles versus the 1250. I'll try not to talk about the 1250 too much because this video is all about the 1300. You can definitely feel the power. You start twisting on and you can feel the grunt there. Even if you're at 65 on the motorway in 6th gear, you twist that throttle and it gets you to 70 nice and quick. The power in this definitely feels a little bit smoother compared to the old 1250. My 1250, like I said, it's 2019, so it's not a newish 1250, but it definitely feels a little bit more agricultural, a little bit more rough around the edges. This just feels a little bit more refined. I don't know how BMW do it, but with the GSA weighing 269 kilos, it just handles so nicely for that weight. It just flicks from side to side. What I do notice as well is the handlebars for me in the seated position is a little bit lower than the 1250. 1250 is a little bit more upright, and with the handlebars situated that little bit lower, for me it just feels a little bit sportier, like a little bit more aggressive, whereas the 1250 is that kind of very typical kind of laid back, relaxed riding position. But I found that on the GS1300 as well, a little bit lower, a little bit more aggressive. Not much, but just a little bit. Obviously I bought the GSA over the GS when I got the 1250, and with that I liked its size, I liked its dominance on the road, I like that extra wind protection obviously the bulkier tank gives you. Would I get the GSA or the GS1300 if I was had to pick between one or the other? Personally, I quite like the GS1300s, especially in that green. I've kind of done like a flip-flop. I've gone back to thinking that actually the little bit slender, a little bit sleeker, a little bit lighter, but then I'm growing on me. I'm growing on me. Well, you know, I am bloody good looking. This bike's growing on me. When I first saw the GS1300, I didn't like it. I didn't like the front end. Like a lot of people, kind of stuck in our ways, wasn't too keen on it. And I did not like the photos of this GSA. Fact. I said it to Stephen, who works in BMW. But now I've seen it in the flesh, and more importantly, I've seen it in the green. It's started to change my mind. Let's put it that way. It does not look as bad in the flesh as what the photos did it. They did it dirty. When I stop, we would have a full walk around of the bike, because there's some bits that I think I actually really like, and I like the idea of them being on the bike. But you'll have to wait and see. The throttle pickup on this is just so smooth. Like there's no jolting, there's no jerking, it's a snatchiness. So whether you pick the manual or the ASA, you're not going to have any problems riding it around town, in traffic or anything like that. But then you twist it, and she goes. The back brake on this is really sharp, and I actually really like it. And then we got a 285mm disc at the back, and that's slightly bigger than kind of other bikes. And yeah, the bite on this, as soon as you start getting on it, it's stopping. Some rear brakes on other bikes are just pointless. Not a bad day to be out in Wales. Handles really, really nicely. Quick shifter down. Works a treat. Baffle horse. Nice BMW F900 GS. Well, nice little pit stop at the Baffle Horse in Wales. I'll leave a link in the description for this place if you're ever in the area. Definitely head out. Nice little biker stop. They got some clothing and stuff inside as well. Even though we do have a 30-litre tank in this, we have it in the reserve, so let's go find a petrol station. The quick shifter feels like a solid shift, like when you're going up and down. Like, it's not buttery, it's not silky smooth. But yeah, you can definitely feel you've changed gears. Just got chatting to Jerry and John at the Baffle Horse. One's on a 1250 and the other one is on a Pikes Peak V4. They were admiring the GSA and I don't blame them. I mean, these back roads, these B roads, I keep saying it, I've said it about 4 times. I'm going to say it again. Thing handles so well. Like, the beautiful thing is, if you just want to sit back and chill out and relax, it's easy to ride. And then when you want to get on it, great handling, pokey engine. Oh, it doesn't sound the best, and I think even if you spent £1,000 and put on the dual silencer from Acura, it doesn't really enhance the sound too much. Certainly a comfortable riding position. So looking at some of the tech then that comes on this bike, obviously we've got a large, I think, 6.5-inch TFT screen. This one's got the electric windshield, we've got heated grips, we've got the adaptive cruise control, the adaptive ride height. If you then get the top carrier case, top carrier rack, that's then got power points, so then there's lights inside the top box, and I think potentially a charging point. Like, this bike has absolutely everything you'd want. I think for me the main thing is I would definitely grab the larger windscreen. It's just a little bit too much wind on the top of my helmet for me. So how much is all this going to set you back? Well, there are 3 different options you've got to pick from. You've got the base bike in the base colour, which is the red. That's going to set you back £18,800. Or most people in the UK will get the GSA TE, and that's going to set you back around 20,300, 20,600. I'll put the exact price on the screen. And then lastly, if you want the GSA TE ASA, that's going to set you back around 21,300. And that is, remember, all in the base colour of red, because obviously we've got the GS Trophy, which is here, you've got the triple black, and then you've got the green. The GS Trophy and the triple black are both going to set you back around £700 to £800 extra. And then the green, because they've added that into the 719 option, is going to set you back just over £2,100. So you've gone potentially from 21,300, 21,600, whatever it is, adding another 2,100, you're now at 23.5. That's before you've added any other extras that suits you. So easily you could be finishing off at about 25 grand for this bike if you want the best colour and then to add some extras on top of that. I'm going to say it's a lot of money because it is, there's no fact about that. But the problem is you then add that into the other bikes in the market. You look at the Ducatis out there and they're coming in at 27, maybe more. The type of bike it is, the level and the spec that we're at, when you look at the rest of the market, unfortunately, you got to say it's about right. Dun, dun, dun. Give it a little bit of juice so we can get home. Indicators at the front end, we do have them integrated into the handlebars. Sorry, the handlebars, the knuckle guards. I'm in two minds. If I'm only taking this on road, then I like it. I think it sleeks up the front, stops having things kind of poking out from the bike, and it just makes it look nice. If I'm taking this off-road, that would give me anxiety a little bit, because I've no doubt they're probably quite expensive. And if you drop it, that's definitely going to be hitting the ground, so you've got a lot more chance of smashing that up than if it was tucked onto the bike. Do I feel like I'm missing out by not having one of these and by keeping my GSA? Honestly, no, I don't. Don't get me wrong, I think it looks good, I do, it's definitely converted me. I like the brushed aluminium parts on the top here, knowing that you can add extra pouches and bags on the stuff onto them, and on the side of the bike you've got extra hooks like these here, so for the extra bags and that stuff. I like that stuff that's already on it, but it does not mean that I'm going to be chopping in my 1250 for this. I think if you're in the market of looking at getting a GS or a GSA, then yeah, this is definitely something you should be considering. Potentially some people will want to wait for that first iteration of the GS line to kind of be in its second year at least, so BMW can work for any niggles and any problems. But then there's other people out there that as soon as this thing comes out, they'll be straight up to BMW and then chopping in their 1250 GSA to get one of these. Quick shifter is definitely a lot smoother the higher up the rev range you are. It's not the biggest fan of doing a low rev gear change. And this bike has a seat height of 870 to 890 mil. But don't forget, this bike also has the low seat option on it, and it's low. Like, I'm flat-footed with bending knees, and this has on top, obviously, the ride height assist, so it lowers the ride height when you're slowing down, come to stationary. For me, I just don't know why BMW haven't integrated some form of navigation, Apple CarPlay into this big screen, and why we keep using the cradle and the mount. I don't know about the new Nav 6, but the old one and the Nav 5, the forums were filled with people complaining about them. Like, Ducati have done it, they've got it in their system and their TFT, so it can be done. Me personally, I'd like to have navigation, full map navigation on the screen. Well, I finally managed to find somewhere to pull over. Let's just have a quick look around the GSA, because like I said, there's some features that I personally really like. But first of all, one thing I do not like, and I didn't like on the GS1300, and I still don't like it, I know there's a few people out there as well because they've come up with an aftermarket fix to this problem, is the brake light indicator situation. It's just the fact it's all integrated, and I think it's more dangerous than anything else. I don't know how they got away with it. I don't know how that passes UK MOT law, because back in the day, I remember it had to be a certain distance from the brake light to the indicator. Hey ho. This is that top carrier case I was on about. There's the electric point. Actually, this does have that twin exhaust. I think it looks really nice, but again, it doesn't really sound... I mean, actually, in all fairness, I think I said in the video about having that, I didn't realise it did have it. That's how much it didn't really sound like it did have it. What's cool to see as well is we've got like adventure pegs on this. So you literally pull them and it twists. So that's like road riding, pull it, twist it, and and now it's raised up for when you're off-road, and it locks in place. When we look at the side protection, the crash bars, obviously they've got this extra little lip. And now I asked, because there's nothing up the fairing at the top, whereas obviously the GSA 1250 has the upper protection. Is Steven says they've got this because where it kicks out, it's almost impossible for the average Joe to tip the bike that far where it's going to need the protection. So this little bit should do enough to protect all of this. I do like these integrated lights on the sides. Again, it just gives that kind of wide stance, wide position on the road. So hopefully more car users should see us. These are the integrated indicators I said about. Now they're bright. Just wonder how much they are to fix if you were to break them. We've got massive outlets on the side behind the radiator fans, which means all that hot air is going to get pushed out and away from the rider, so you're going to get less hot air onto the legs. Nice to see, especially if you are riding in Europe in the summer. And now one of the other features I'd mentioned whilst I was riding that I do like is the extra loop system on the side of the bike, so you can just easily clip on the side bags. I like it. And then yeah, same kind of loop system for the tank bag as well. There's no denying it, it's big, it's bulky. And I think compared to the 1250, it's boxy. Whereas the 1250 was wide and it had that big broad stance. Just had a bit more curves to it, I feel. Whereas obviously, this is just as big, but it's boxy. And I think potentially that's what was putting people off at the start. But without a doubt, if you haven't seen one of these in the flesh, you need to go and see it. More importantly, you need to go and test it. So if you want to test this exact demo, then head over to Dick Lovett Motor Rad in Bristol, because you can jump on this, and then if you want, you can jump on the GS ASA and then the GS manual to really get a feel for the whole range of the new 1300. Well guys, I'm going to finish that review there. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more videos coming for the rest of 2024. Until the next time, ride safe.